Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. As today, with the Drukhari threat dealt with, it's time to tend to loose ends. I mean, sure, we've still got a rogue satellite out there somewhere filled with xenomorphs to deal with, but sadly there is simply no way that we can perpetrate this amount of carnage and mayhem and, not incur a considerable amount of paperwork. So today we tend to the aftermath. And if we have some time left over, then we'll go fight more Xenos, as a treat. Or at least finish clearing that sector off to our space west. Maybe tie up a few other loose ends. We might also still have some stuff in the travel queue. I mean, as far as I'm aware, we have not exhausted it just yet. Though we have hit all the prominent events I was anticipating. The last one I was expecting was our pseudo date with Yurliet, which, went about as well as you'd expect it would. Oh, who is this? Oh, Vigdis, have you always looked like that? Huh. Welcome back, Lord Captain. During your absence, we assisted the ground forces by coordinating their movements from orbit. Detailed casualty and damage reports have been submitted for your perusal. It is with deepest awe that I inform you that the timely intervention and the resilience of the world's defenders managed to break the back of the raid, which had threatened to turn into a protracted war. Dargonis suffered losses, but the Hive has sufficient capacity to restore the administrative networks and industries as expeditiously as possible. The world remains intact, despite the insidious blow dealt by the Xenos. I have been given Scalander's reports that he failed to deliver in time. They indicate that Xenos activity dropped sharply after you departed for the Cinerus Maleficum. Considering the scale of the Dargonis raid, it is safe to assume the Drukhari used up all the forces at their disposal, and may now require some time to replenish the losses. Achilles is presently recuperating from his severe wounds, and without his aid we are temporarily blind to the scheming of these enemies of humanity. However, our strategists are still hoping for a lull in attacks and raids, which will allow us to gather our strength for a new conflict. Lord Captain, permission to report, the Voxmaster says, looking at you deferentially. Your wise Lex mechanics have analyzed the state of the Protectorate. They believe that, thanks to your decisive actions, the acute phase of the crisis has passed. The domain of Von Valancius dynasty is no longer facing dissolution and ruin. In honor of such a resounding triumph, Dargonis, as the capital world of your dynasty's domain, is currently making preparations for the Magnae Exsellsior, a grand ceremony of your public induction as the heir of the Honorable Theodora von Valancius. Governor Drivestem has vowed that not even the recent devastating and tragic events will be permitted to cast a shadow over this most glorious occasion. I mean, Vigdis, the world was just raised by Drukhari, where we're only just recovering. Are you sure this is the best time for this? Do not underestimate Governor Drivestem's desire to find favor with your lordship. At this very moment, thousands of your subjects are clearing rubble, washing away bloodstains, sweeping the streets, and transporting corpses to the lower sectors. The wardens have been tasked with clearing the ceremony venue of the injured and those who were burned out of their houses. They will be forcibly moved to the industrial levels. Rest assured, by the start of the festivities, the capital's wounds will be, if not healed, then well hidden under elaborate set dressing. I've got to say, Vig, that really just kind of makes it sound even worse. You sure we have to do this? It is an ancient tradition of the Von Valancius dynasty. When the heir accedes to rogue trader status, they take a sacred oath of fealty to the Emperor and announce themselves as his steward on the dynasty's vassal worlds. It is an act of faith that is meant to remind the rogue trader of their mission. In the eyes of your subjects, you already are a rogue trader. It is now time to become one in the eyes of the Emperor. Yeah, okay. I mean, I may have my own way of doing things, but I am ultimately loyal to the Emperor. So what's this going to involve? I swear an oath, I hobnob with a bunch of people who are just hoping to leech off my protectorate. The grill of the Vox built into Vigdis's face lets out a short rattle that indicates a chuckle. That much is certain. But that's not all there is to it. There will also be a reception, as well as other noble guests. The distinguished rogue traders Caligos Winterscale and Incendia Corda will be in attendance. It will be a great honor for Dargonus to host 3 illustrious dynasties at once. Your servants wish to know your opinions on 2 matters related to the ceremony arrangements. The first of which is what festive activities are to take place in the capital on this glorious day. Wait, so I'm going from planet protector to party planner? Don't we have people for this? It is not so much about the entertainment, Lord Captain, as it is about the tone you wish to set for your entire reign. These activities will let the people know who you are, as a person and as a ruler. Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess that's fair. And the other rogue traders, are they normally in attendance at these ceremonies? Or is this a special occasion? Did they come to Theodora's? Archival records indicate that they did. Lady Theodora's Magnae Exsellsior was attended by the esteemed Caligos Winterscale and Aspis Corda, Incendia's predecessor. It is an informal tradition. By witnessing the ceremony, the heads of the other dynasties confirm that they recognize the new rogue trader as their equal, that they are willing to respect the new rogue trader's privileges and not encroach upon their holdings. No more than usual, at least. Okay, yeah, alright, I guess we're doing this then. It does seem like it serves an actual functional purpose. In which case, I suppose my first official act as the newly ascended rogue trader will be to ensure that all the injured and displaced are properly provided for during the festivities. I won't have people unduly suffering just because we have to put on a show. I want to make it clear that I value all of my subjects, upper echelon or otherwise. Your subjects will appreciate your generosity, Lord Captain. We are never short of people in need. The second matter on your servant's mind is, which 2 of your closest companions will be given the honor of standing by your side during the ceremony? Oh, geez, that's an interesting question. Honestly, I feel like most of them wouldn't even really want to. And the few who would, well, I mean, Jai definitely would, but I feel like it would be for all the wrong reasons. Abby would benefit from it. It would help people take his family more seriously, but he's also presenting the ceremony, so, I mean, that might be a bit redundant. Heinrichs is our spy master. Pascal probably wouldn't care. Yurliet definitely wouldn't want to do it. Kibbles and Argento would probably just be baffled. So really, I think, logically, the only 2 sensible choices here are Cassie and Abby. Both of whom do deserve it. I mean, they are a part of our regular retinue. Let's start with Lady Cassia. A great boon for Navigator House Orselio. Oh, wow. 50 Navigator insight, my goodness. Wow, I think that might actually be more insight than we have gained in the entirety of Act 2. Which certainly puts a lot more pressure on who else we end up choosing if they all have commensurate rewards. So who will be our second companion? Vigdis asks. You know what? We'll stick to our guns. We'll go with Abby. The servants of House von Valancius will see in this the continuity of the dynasty's glorious traditions. Oh, I guess it could also give us nothing. That is also a possibility. Fair enough. I do wonder now, though, if any of the others might have offered something more substantial, but not enough to actually change it. I'm happy with our picks. Might do a little digging, though, just to see if there's any further impact. I won't keep you any further. Thank you for your time, Lord Captain. I will see to it that your instructions are delivered to Dargonis. The Master of Ceremonies at the Palace will report to you when the capital is ready to praise your name. Super duper. Oh, Pascal. And friend. Pascal's voice, pouring out of his Vox system, crackles like thin ice under pressure. It is unclear whether this is nothing more than static, or an expression of some emotion, understandable only to the tech priest himself.
Balin, following the Omnissiah's guidance, I request permission to execute the report protocol that entails describing suboptimalities within the recent operations of the ship's systems, and subsequently proposing the appropriate course of action.
Really could have just asked for permission to report, but yes, please, continue.
Initiating exposition. With the Omnissiah's blessing, I conducted several sessions of tech meditation in an effort to transpose the available data streams into a matrix of patterns. The data subjected to this analysis comprised evidence of deviations in the operation of the ship's systems and servitors, as well as irregularities in the algorithms of the ship's log. I have arrived at the following conclusion. This vessel's machine spirit is most extraordinary. A full cycle of sacred diagnostics must be performed, followed by a complementa ritual. This ritual will force the spirit responsible for these recent events to reveal itself. Once it does, we will be able to understand its nature and take action applicable to said nature.
Like what? What did you have in mind? Pascal pauses before responding.
Applicable to the entity that appears before us. If it is a machine spirit of great might, we must appease it and humbly ask about the reasons behind the portents it has shown us. If it is the abomination of tech heresy, the Complenta ritual will help us purge the ship of its unhallowed presence.
And let me guess, you'd like me to be present for this?
Response: affirmative. For the Complenta ritual to take place, activation via the blood of the dynasty is required. All of the ship's high protocols are activated with the key of blood.
Of course they are. Okay, I guess I can abide by the format. Sharpen up those data points and let's get this done.
You have my gratitude, Balin. I will notify my tech comrades to begin their preparations for the Complenta ritual at once.
Cool. I am curious to see where this goes. Despite the resounding hum of the tech priest's words of prayer, the bridge feels unusually quiet. All sound sinks into the viscous silence, like pebbles sinking into water.
Balin, my tech comrades have spent the assigned number of cycles in prayer and vigil. Everything is prepared for the Complenta ritual of cleansing. Its commencement will require an authorization key in the form of the blood of a von Valancius. If you are ready, place a hand in the Cyber Gargoyle's receiving module.
Pask, I can't help but notice you seem to have evacuated the main bridge. I feel like you may have undersold me on the dangers here.
All personnel whose function is below critical level have been removed for the duration of the sacred ritual.
Cool, so not an answer to my question, but do we at least have some vague idea of what's going to happen when we actually do this? Pascal freezes momentarily. When he starts speaking again, you can tell how carefully and hesitantly he is choosing his words. A sight most uncharacteristic of Magos Hanuman.
The bounds of possibility are vast. We cannot be certain what we are dealing with until the calculations are complete. However, there exists a risk that all that we have observed here on this ship are manifestations of abominable intelligence.
I'm sorry, a what now? Pascal's voice sounds hollow and seems to carry echoes of cannonades of the distant past.
A transgression. A sentient mechanism created by human hands, but no longer needing its master. A rebelling machine spirit that has forgotten the will of the Omnissiah, who sent it to serve and aid humanity, not to exist for its own sake. Only once before did our ancestors underestimate the menace that is abominable intelligence and its terrible power. A great war followed, one that humanity nearly lost. After that calamity, the creation of sentient machines was categorically forbidden, and any such abomination, without exception, must now face deconstruction.
Oh, okay. Well, now I'm starting to think we shouldn't have had this conversation right in front of the computer, but I guess we will now proceed. The familiar cold metal burns your palm. This time, however, the servitor's jaws, instead of brutally clamping down on your hand, merely squeeze it slightly. You feel a thin rivulet of hot blood, beginning where the metal fangs have pierced your skin. Screeches and growls slowly rise from the bowels of the massive cogitator, as if a great beast is stirring awake. The vid screens in front of you flicker restlessly. Key accepted. Activating purgation protocols. Suddenly, the viscous silence of the bridge rushes toward you and wraps you in a tight cocoon. The glow of the vid screens dims, but the symbols on them flare to life. Nomos, analyzing. Hypothesis, intrusion. Nomos, analyzing. Hypothesis, lockout. Nomos, analyzing. Conclusion, prevention. Nomos, sad. Pascal, if I'm reading this correctly, our main computer is sad?
The Complenture ritual is proceeding as intended.
Pascal's voice cuts off abruptly. He brings a hand to his Vox communicator in surprise. Nomos, execute, stop. Nomos, quiet. Hello. Well, hello to you, too. Nomos are glad to be speaking. Nomos are here. Nomos have long been here. Why are we here? Oh, well, Nomos, that is a very loaded question. I think to answer that question, I'm going to need to ask one of my own. What exactly are you? Nomos. We are Nomos. Right, of course. Silly me. Pascal uses his hands and mechadendrites to gesture at his silent Vox system. Nomos, did you, mute my man here? Nomos wanted no disturbance. Only quiet. Okay, I mean, I guess I can appreciate that. Is that just a thing you can do? Sometimes. Some people. Nomos can do many things. We do not always know what or how. We did not know that we could make silence until now. Right, well, Nomos, he's an autonomous being. You shouldn't force your will on him. Let him speak. Pascal's Voxcaster comes alive with an exclamation.
Extraordinary.
The tech priest pauses upon realizing that he can speak aloud again. Then he continues in a strangely quivering voice.
Extraordinary transmission jamming. Unknown protocols. What has been revealed to me? Is it the omniscience glory or foul tech heresy? I would like to...
Thank you, Nomos. Now, back to my earlier question. Aside from just Nomos, what else are you?
No data available. No answer. We want to know too. I see no such name in the archives. It is not among the names of the revered machine spirits, but neither is it among the known virus entities. The spirit is referring to our toils, to the Complenta ritual and the rites that preceded it. The spirit is troubled by them.
Well, yeah, I mean, we just forced it out of hiding and talked about potentially destroying it. Nomos, are you a machine spirit?
Nomos do not know. Nomos do not know themselves. The spirit may not possess self-awareness yet, but its capabilities. I would like to start with 100-cycle vigil at the cogitator and a rite of communion.
Pascal looks back and forth between the glowing vid screen and you, embroiled in some internal conflict.
Nomos, welcome, learning.
The spirit is referring... You already said that. Well, we are happy to help you learn, Nomos. The pursuit for knowledge is a most righteous goal, but we have to know. What are your intentions? Are you friend or foe? The vid screen blinks in thought, signifying a pause in the conversation. Then one of them displays.
Nomos von Valancius, we are your blood.
Oh, interesting.
Nomos are a sentinel. We awoke when the strange light invaded the ship. We protected you when you needed help. We escorted you when you were surrounded by danger. Nomos are movement. We carry you through the frightening, the waiting, the measureless. We helped when our ailing heart was refusing to awaken. You called us a hallowed spirit and asked us to guard you against your doom. The warp engine activation against all probability during our escape from the Rykad system. The Category 3 miracle manifested by the ship's machine spirit. And the part about protecting. Was it during the cultist attack?
Yeah, we're on the same page here, Pask.
We did everything to please you. Why?
The silence on the bridge grows especially deep, almost painful. The haze of light around you thickens to the point of becoming practically tangible. Numbers ripple across all the vid screens at once.
Why do you fear us now?
I don't fear you, Nomos. I'm just trying to understand. The quest for knowledge, remember? Shivers run up your hand, which is still trapped inside the cyber gargoyle's jaws. The servitor nods its head a few times, as if it is shaking your hand. Its teeth rake your already wounded flesh.
Nomos are glad. Nomos enjoy understanding, too. Valen, entities such as this one ought to be addressed using the language of sacred rituals and offerings. Your unskilled meddling bodes ill. A decision is required of you. Either the Complenta ritual is finished, or it is replaced by a rite of tech communion. In the first scenario, the entity Nomos will be banished, and the sacred data halls where the entity dwelt will be reset. In the second scenario, we will appease the entity and learn more about it.
Well, again, I feel like we shouldn't be talking about killing it right in front of it.
No. Nomos do not want to be banished. Nomos want to help. Nomos want to understand.
Right, yeah, because it can clearly hear us. Nomos, just to clarify, you are the source for all of the strange malfunctions we've had on board?
Yes. Nomos did that. Are you angry? We only wanted to understand. To see how things worked.
Oh, and what exactly did that teach you?
Nomos learn. Nomos try new things. Do you want to see?
The cyber gargoyle slowly turns its head, dragging your hand along with it. The skull's eyes flash red. The scarlet gaze falls upon one of the monotonously chanting junior technomats. You blink, and an electric discharge erupts from the side of the technomat's skull. The crimson-clad figure slumps to the floor. Oh, well...
Does it please you? Do you want us to do it again?
No, please,
Valen, you are provoking the machine spirit. Stop. Nomos enjoy communication. Valen is our blood.
Nomos, don't do that. These are living, breathing creatures. You can't just turn them off like that. The cyber gargoyle tilts its head to one side like it is surprised. We stop their functions. Do you not turn machines off sometimes? We do not know how to turn a human back on. Not yet. But after enough experiments, we will. We are always learning new things. Okay, well, that might be a bit of an issue. Pask, could I get a second opinion here? What do you make of our new friend? Pascal says nothing for so long that you begin to suspect that Nomos has silenced him again. When at last the tech priest speaks, his vox-modulated voice trembles slightly.
Understanding the essence of the entity Nomos is beyond my reach at present. The hypothesis spectrum ranges from the extreme of abominable intelligence to the extreme of the Great Spirit as the Omnissiah's apostle. The rite of tech communion appears to be a reasonable solution. The rite will take many cycles, but it will allow me to come closer to identifying the entity and making contact with it.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I can't help but wonder if you've got some ulterior motives there yourself, Pask, but I guess it's settled. Welcome aboard, Nomos, as long as you behave yourself. You can stay.
Nomos want to learn what we are too. We will add things to your log. Things that might help us. Help you.
Pascal lets out something resembling a long breath.
The decision is made. I will begin my preparations for the communion rite at once. Many cycles of interaction with the entity Nomos await me, but I welcome this task and accept it from the Omnissiah. Nomos are glad. Valen, will you speak with us too? We want you to speak with us too. The Lord Captain's body lacks the sacred implants necessary for tech communing with a machine spirit's code. But if such is your wish, Valin can converse with you using lowly sound speech, as he is doing right now.
Of course, Nomos. It would be my pleasure. I do try to make it a point to get to know my bridge crew.
Nomos are glad. We have been lonely. Our work here is done, Valin. I will let my tech comrades know that we are stopping the Complenta ritual. Thank you for appearing before us, Entity Nomos.
Okay, that thing's pretty much guaranteed to be an artificial intelligence, right? The servitor built into the huge cogitator turns its head toward you. The box emits a rasping voice.
Hello. Nomos, welcome your visit.
Hey, Nomos, just, checking to see how you're settling in?
We have been studying and observing, and helping the ship when we can. So many mechanisms. They would have suffered without our input.
Yes, of course. Nomos, tell me, are you at all familiar with the tech blight that my predecessor was experimenting with on Kiava Gamma?
This name is also known to us. It is related to Nomos, although we do not understand how.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where you came from, bud. It's all kind of starting to slot together now. The cyber gargoyle's gaze tracks you as you walk away from the computer. Based on the timeline that Nomos itself has presented us with, it does very much sound like Theodora's last action before, or perhaps immediately after she died, was to smash open that ceramic container containing the tech blight samples that her people were experimenting with on Kiava Gamma, which begs the question of what she was trying to accomplish and whether or not unleashing it was intentional or simply a fluke of her untimely demise.
Lord Captain?
Abby, sorry to disturb, but I'm looking into something Theodora was working on. Do the words Epitaph, Incident, N87204, or Tech Blight mean anything to you?
No, definitely not. No, I don't recall anything like that.
He blinks twice, his tone surprised. Right, yeah. Thanks anyway, bud. Just had to check.
Lord Captain.
Abelard salutes. Alright, let's check with everyone else real quick. I'm just trying to knit all these plot threads together. Hey, Cece. Vigdis? The Voxmaster is looking at you differently. Even the static coming from the Vox speaker sounds especially loud and nervous today. An inexplicable tension has gripped not only Vigdis, but also, seemingly, the rest of the officers. They stand frozen, their eyes glued to you. Cassia notices your gaze and hastily turns away, shrinking back as if trying to disappear. Voxmaster, what's going on?
Ahem. We just had a shipwide broadcast, Lord Captain.
Did we? Of what?
There was a shipwide broadcast while you and Mistress Haydari were relaxing. I mean, there was a broadcast of your relaxation activities.
I mean, that was days ago, so I guess she must have recorded it? Question mark? I don't fully understand. Vigdis, could you please spell it out for me?
The entire ship heard you carrying on with Mistress Haydari, Lord Kenton. We weren't spared any details. The grunts, the moans, the gasps, and all the other non-regulation activities.
Please tell me this is just some sort of bad joke. Is hazing part of the Ascension ritual? Vigdis puts a hand to her chest and says compassionately,
I would not have dared, nor even thought of mocking your lordship in such a shocking manner. I confess, I, too, was astounded by what was happening.
Wait. Gabella's gaze, thoughtful until now, suddenly clears. So it wasn't a common practice. I assumed it was a traditional ritual of the upper decks. Although I had my doubts. A hysterical giggle comes from the side. Adira is clamping her mouth shut, but she cannot stop herself. Boxmaster, how exactly did this happen? Another curious system malfunction? Sabotage?
It was neither, Lord Captain. The Vox broadcast was initiated from inside your chambers, by someone who was present there. I suppose if it wasn't you, it must have been Mistress Haydari. I am unauthorized to terminate such broadcasts except...
A treacherous note creeps into Vigdis's voice, resembling a suppressed chuckle.
Except in the cases where they explicitly jeopardize the safety of the vessel and her crew.
Please tell me this was only broadcast to the bridge.
No, everyone heard it. The entire vessel.
With the exception of Deck 18 Est. The Vox relay there happened to be out of order at the time. Ravor's nonchalant remark causes someone to choke in a poor attempt to suppress a chuckle. Okay, well... You know, if we needed an excuse to break up with Jai, she has certainly given us a good one. And you know what? While I do appreciate the Space Cat, that's only going to get you so far. I think it might be time to go ahead and pull that trigger.
Summon Mistress Haydari.
I would have words. Her triumphant smile is as good as any confession. Here is the orchestrator of your unwitting performance. Shireen, I am eager to please. The smuggler's perfectly innocent expression is admirable in its own way. Just tell me one thing, Miss Haydari. Why? Why not? Jai shrugs cheerily. Wouldn't your servants be happy to know that their master spends his leisure time enjoyably? Ah, so that's what the expression on the officers' faces was. Happiness. Thank you, Heinrichs. Jai, you do realize you've stepped over the line here, right? Why? Are you embarrassed? Embarrassed of me, perhaps? Do you wish to keep secret the passion that has entwined and united our hearts like a verdant vine? I think your servants found it exciting. You Monkey are remarkably creative when it comes to describing your passions, and strikingly grubby and vile in enacting them.
Emotional reasons are unnecessary when rational reasons are present. Observations show that the efficiency of the command bridge crew dropped by 9.2 units during the broadcast.
And you agree with these two recognized romantic experts, Shireen? You know, I kind of do. Your actions undermine my authority and hurt the ship's morale. We face death and destruction on a daily basis, and I just want to know why you felt that this was an appropriate course of action to take. Really. Why? Is it insecurity? Some sort of fetish? Just to publicly stake your claim? Why? Jai becomes serious. I want them to know that their master has chosen me, a smuggler and a thief. And I want them to know that we spend our nights together. They won't need to whisper behind our backs once they know the truth. I enjoy being your companion and your lover, but I am not some embarrassing secret to be hidden away from so-called decent people. I hope you take no issue with it, Shireen. Right, so insecurity and a touch of pride. Though I wouldn't necessarily rule out self-gain as well, since obviously this isn't the first time she's tried to use our relationship, fledgling or otherwise, as leverage to get what she wants from others. I mean, I wish I could shrug this off, but it's just such a massive violation of trust. She completely disregarded her own feelings just to placate her own. Well, regardless of your reasons, you have grossly crossed the line. Jai imitates a shudder and feigns fear in her voice. I feel a harsh punishment about to befall me. I beg you to show mercy, Shireen. Endeavor to avoid broadcasting her punishment, whatever it may be. I mean, look at this, Jai. You've got fucking Argenta dunking on us. Alright, well, I mean... Okay, we're not gonna kill her over this. You know, while she may not be a suitable romantic partner, not for someone like Valen, she is still our business partner at least, and she's, by our limited exposure, done a decent job of running that colony. Sorry, Jai, I can't be with someone who would violate my trust like this. Especially not these days. There's too much at stake. Whatever we had before is over. From here on out, it's strictly professional. An Emperor help you if you break my trust again. Jai's eyes widen in astonishment. I never meant to offend you, Shireen. It was just a bit of fun. But if it hurt you, I will humbly accept the harshest punishment. Forgive me. Aside from this incident, nothing worthy of note occurred during the watch, Lord Captain. At these words, the feverish excitement gripping the bridge officers begins to slowly dissipate. Great. Glad to hear it. Vigdis, are you familiar with any of these terms? Epitaph, Incident N87204, Tech Blight. Anything unusual related to Theodora? All of Lady Theodora's journeys could be considered unusual. Her odysseys were always audacious. As for the words you mentioned, none of them sounds familiar to me as far as I can tell. Great. Except maybe the incident. I recall coming across this word in transmission several times. I think it was repeated by the former Exsellsior, the one who perished during Conrad Voigtvir's uprising. Okay, yeah, I mean, it's not much, but that's something. It does make sense that if she were even just carrying Tech Blight on the ship, she'd keep her own Exsellsior in the loop. He was describing it as the incident, something quite remarkable. Apparently, at some point in the past, the entire ship was hit by a massive system failure. All systems stopped responding for 1/5 of a second. Most of the crew, including myself, as I was likely on board at the time, did not notice anything strange. But tech priests are sensitive to such things. That is all I can tell you, Lord Captain. I wish I could help more. Yeah, I also wish you could do that, because that really just kind of confuses things more. Hey, Cece. I guess I'm your single cat dad now. Sorry about that. Hopefully you'll get on with Cass, since that really is kind of the only romance path we've left open to ourselves at this point. Assuming, of course, she's not sore about the whole Foxcast thing. Well, I guess we do still have Yearly yet. Haha. When Adira sees you, her lips curve into a smile. She nods at something over your shoulder. Adira, you traveled with Theodora for a while. Do the terms Epitaph, Incident, N87204, or Tech Blight mean anything to you?
They mean nothing to me. They're just words. A whisper. So quiet, I barely caught it. Like a feather landing on a pile of down. Something about damned ambitions, antiquity, terrible antiquity. And chance. Chance through it all.
Adira winces and brings her hands to her temples. She winces again.
Oh, now I have a headache. And the stupid bloody whisper wasn't much help.
She falls silent and looks at you in surprise. Okay, well, again, vague, but it is something.
Of course. Always at your service. Whenever you need me.
Oh, Ravor. We need to chat with Ravor. I'm sorry, who are you? Navigator Cassini, at your service, Lord Captain. Oh! Oh, that's, cool. Okay, that's the guy who, yeah, that's the one who was on the ship that was carrying the Chaos Bomb Conrad sent to blow us up. I don't recall seeing him around before. Alright, let's chat up Ravor real quick. I need more data. The tall man before you appears... Oh, wow. Wait, why are you... Huh. Wait. We've talked to him before. Why are they doing the full intro? Ravor, do the words Epitaph, Incident, N87204, or Tech Blight mean anything to you? In regards to Theodora or otherwise? Can't say they do, Lord Captain. Doesn't ring any bells. Then again, remembering all the places Lady Theodora went is... His brow furrows. Epitaph, Incident. We've always had heaps of incidents happening on board, but... Through my implants, I feel at one with this ship, and I sense that... I don't know when it happened exactly, it started behaving differently. Became more responsive. Livelier. Yeah, livelier is exactly the word. And when you said Epitaph and Incident, it just dawned on me. Pardon my bungled report, Lord Captain, but, that's all I've got to say on that front. Right, so that's his very roundabout way of saying he's felt Nomos' presence before. He just doesn't know when it started. Ravor, do we have an issue with a fuel lever or something? I don't believe anyone's actually brought this to my attention, but... The officer's furrowed eyebrows draw even closer together. He speaks slowly, carefully picking his words. I most definitely do, Lord Captain. The Technomats will inspect the equipment immediately. I will also deal with those in charge without delay. Cool, great. See that you do. I mean, the only thing I can think of that was at all related to fuel would be the Gene Stealer agents turning off the fuel feed to the dynastic crypts. Critical tasks. Certain matters demand the rogue trader's personal attention. Inspect the fuel lever on the ship's bridge. The technomat sent by Ravor have failed to resolve the issue. The rogue trader will have to inspect the lever himself. On Voidship Bridge. When did this pop up? I do not at all remember that quest being in our log, or seeing a pop-up during any of our discussions. Unless we triggered it just now while talking to Ravor, but in that case, why would it not pop up during the discussion? I'm going to have to go back and check earlier episodes to see if we had that before, and I just never noticed. I feel like we go through our log pretty regularly. Especially these days, since, you know, we're trying to wrap up all the loose ends before we hit the end of Act 2. Cass?
Words cannot describe how boring the bridge is without our stimulating conversations.
Always glad to help with your stimulation. Just checking in to make sure everything's cool with us, and it would appear that it is, so I will leave you be.
I have enjoyed your company. Thank you for the conversation.
Yeah, no problem. Uwe? Oh, boy. Oh, I did hear there's new items in Danrock's inventory. I'll check that out while I'm trading, and we'll touch on the highlights next time.
You are spoiling me with the splendor of your presence again, Shireen. Have you decided to treat your...
Cool,
Oh,
bye.
I have not...
Yeah, so we've definitively broken things off with her. No real follow-up, it would seem. I am so puzzled with this fuel lever. Like, it feels like a misfiring quest, but I'm going to have to canvass the entire bridge later to see if there's some new interactable tucked away somewhere. And yeah, I suppose I'll also need to do a full canvass of the bridge crew, the companions, see if anyone else has anything new to say in wake of all the things we've been through recently. So, you know what? This does feel like a good place to call it. I need to do some trading with Danrock anyway. And as for the deal with Nomos, I will say that also puzzles me because the impression, I guess, theory I was crafting was that Nomos was born from the tech blight sample that Theodora had inside of a ceramic container that she broke, whether intentionally or otherwise, during Conrad's mutiny attempt. I could easily see it being something she did intentionally to help turn back the mutiny, I guess. Or to just as easily have been done by accident when she was killed. But either way, a lot of the clues seem to point towards Nomos essentially awakening at that moment, and us thus being the master he recognized. He never said or implied any knowledge of Theodora. He only talked about us being the de facto master of the ship, the one who addressed and commanded him, the one who asked for protection, and that he had been striving to protect. But the bit about the engine seer noting a half-second outage kind of throws that off, because he died pretty much immediately during the mutiny, and thus would not have been alive to note the outage during the mutiny. Likewise, you know, obviously, had it happened during the mutiny, I feel like Vigdis would have mentioned that. Though it is possible the outage was caused by the introduction of something else, something she was setting up, and that Nomos only awakened or activated when the tech blight was subsequently exposed to it during her final moments. Though that would beg the question of why Ravor associated the word epitaph with feeling the ship become livelier. Alright, well, you know, more data points to chew on. We'll hit the pause button for now. I will take care of the off-screen bookkeeping, and we will pick up here next time as we continue tending to these loose ends. And or levers. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Eerie V23, Revenant, Alois, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.
They mean nothing to me. They're just words.